Hey everybody, George the Tech here at NAMM Show 2025. I saw this alien thing in a box and I had to stop and learn more about it. I knew it had something to do with power, but here with Taurus Power is Jagshival, and he's going to give us the rundown about power supplies and clean power and why great power supplies are so important in a studio. Tell us about what you've got here.
George the Tech.
Hi George, pleasure to meet you.
You too.
I'd be happy to tell you a little bit about what we do. So my name is Jag and I work for Taurus Power. And we're here exhibiting our clean power lineup. So this is a large toroidal transformer. This particular one's called the RM20. Now the fundamental reason we have these is when you have a recording studio specifically, we're at NAMM, so I'll talk about the music application, you need clean power for your equipment. So all your outboard gear, your preamp, your compressors, you want them running at their peak optimal capacity. And for that, you need to be providing them with pure power. So you don't want any distortion coming in from the transformers outside your facility. You don't want any noise, you don't want any harmonics. You don't want any spikes or surges damaging your equipment. So that's what this is for, to keep your equipment running the best, at its safest, and also prolonging the life of your equipment. So ultimately, your music sounds the best. We have the ones that provide clean power and filter out any unwanted harmonics and noise in the system. And then we also have ones that stabilize the voltage, which is our AVR series.
Yeah.
So that will keep you at 120 voltage plus or minus 4, regardless of the incoming input voltage. So that's really important because as the summer hits, air conditioners come on, you're going to notice that sag in voltage. And that's not good for equipment. You don't want your preamps and compressors running off of 110 volts. So our AVR series keeps it up to 120. The basics of it is you have the incoming power coming into and wrapping around the toroidal transformer, and that's called a primary winding. And then that's insulated, and then you got the secondary winding over top of that. And that primary winding creates a magnetic field within this large toroidal transformer, which is picked up by induction into the secondary winding, which then feeds your equipment. So it's important to know that there is no physical connection between your input and output. So what's being transferred into your equipment is just a pure AC sine wave.
What becomes the grounding point for the gear inside the studio?
So the ground remains the same. So you're still using the same reference to ground.
Gotcha.
What's important is when you're hooking up your gear is that you connect your grounds properly so that there's no ground differential, because you want to avoid any ground loops that may be caused. You want to make sure that your system ideally is all hooked up to a same point, providing the same reference to ground. We recommend you plug all your equipment into one Torus unit, and then that is to your power source. Now, we have different lineups. We have all the way from 8 amps up to 100 amps. We work with you. You give me a call, you send us an email, and you say, here's my system. This is a gear I got. This is my power requirements. And we have a large product lineup, all the way from small units, all the way up to large wall mount, 6 foot tall, 100 amp units.
Now when it goes up to power handling, is it physically a larger toroid or is it more toroids?
It's a larger toroid. So that one there is about, it's pretty hefty to support larger loads.
Is this one?
This is a 20 amp unit.
Okay.
Yep. And for most small home studios, 20 amp is usually sufficient, but some people have more speakers, more power amps. They'll use a lot more power. We have 20s, we have 40s, 60s. With this configuration or the AVR, if you need voltage regulation as well. Yeah, and I think this is an area where a lot of people, even producers who have been in the industry for a while, don't fully understand the importance and effects of having clean power and how important it is to keep your equipment running at its best. And the moment you add in noise, distortion, varying voltages, you're adding a new element that's going to affect each one of your components differently. And you don't know what that's going to be, but it's not going to sound good, I can tell you that.
Thanks a lot, Jack.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
George the Tech and NAMM Show. Cool stuff like this. That's why you got to come.